But we are also facing a very critical moment, not only in the United States, but also in India. The Modi government in India is perhaps the worst that India has ever experienced from the day it became independent. If Mahatma Gandhi was still alive, he would denounce this government. Oh yes, he'll denounce it. And they'll probably want to assassinate him again. If Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Gandhi was alive, they would assassinate him again. This is the worst government that that India has ever had. And it's time for us to speak out, and speak out courageously and boldly on the subject. The Indian government has not only acted recklessly on Kashmir, and we'll have more to speak about that when I gave my lecture on Kashmir, the way forward, in London, inshallah, just after Eid al-Fitr. Please wait for that lecture. But the Indian government has compounded its mistakes, its reckless mistakes over Kashmir, with also a citizenship law in which refugees coming into India can have their citizenship expedited to become citizens of the Republic of India. But this law is applicable only to others and not to Muslims. If you are a Christian, you can get the fast track. If you are a Jew, you are a Christian, you can get the fast track. The Buddhists can get the fast track, but not the Muslim. It excludes Muslim. And the whole of India is an uproar over this law because it strikes against the very secular foundations of the state, which discriminates against a certain religion for citizenship, and very rightly so. And it is discriminatory to the Muslims, who feel very offended by this. And the uproar has now turned into public protests and demonstrations all over India. And what the government has responded with, the political party which rules over India, they have sent their goons, their thugs, to wage acts of persecution, to persecute, to attack those who are protesting. But what they have done is to target Muslims. And now in the capital city itself of Delhi, New Delhi, you have riots taking place. These are riots which are directed against Muslims. And Modi's goons and Modi's thugs are attacking Muslims on the streets. Muslims are being killed. I hope the Indian High Commissioner in Trinidad is listening, because he has nothing with which he can respond, absolutely nothing with which he can respond, so shut up. The Muslims are being attacked on the streets. Masajid are being built, are being burnt down in India. And this is the worst that the country has experienced in several years. Anti-Muslim riots. But the good news for the world, other than Modi and his supporters, is that there are Hindus in India who are now protecting Muslims. And there are Hindus in India who are now protecting the masajid. Shame on you, supporters of Modi and his government. Shame on you that these are Hindus, and they are better informed than you, and they have better hearts than you have. They are protecting the Muslims. These are Hindus. And they are protecting the masajid, plural of masjid in India. And so what do the Muslims of India, what guidance can we offer to them? Number one, recognize that there was a possibility for Muslims and Hindus to live together peacefully in India after British imperialism had ended. That was a possibility. But that possibility was destroyed because number one, Gandhi was assassinated. And number two, the Khilafat movement was destroyed. Gandhi and the Khilafat movement had come together in an alliance, a Hindu-Muslim alliance. And if that had succeeded, there would have been Hindu-Muslim peace and friendship in India. But it was destroyed. But because Gandhi was the highly respected leader of the Hindus, and because he showed that he was prepared to make an alliance with Muslims, it means that the Hindu psyche will always remain open for a friendly relations with Muslims. And so my advice to Muslims living in Delhi, where the riots are taking place, and in other cities around Delhi, where it is now spreading, my advice to you is to turn to the Hindu who is your friend. The Hindu who has not been corrupted, his heart has not been corrupted with hatred for Islam, which can never be removed. Yes, of course, Muslim Hindus have a right to feel offended by Islam because Islam came to India and ruled over India for so many centuries. Yes. The Hindus never invited the Muslims to come to rule. The Muslims came as imperialists. And you have to denounce it, because Islam is not imperialism. And if you denounce that Muslim rule over India as imperialism, you're going a good way. You're opening the door for rapprochement with Hindus. And also Babri. How many times did I advise you? If the Hindus believe that that spot in Babri was where Ram was born, then we don't need any historical evidence, no deed, nothing of the sort. Out of respect for the Hindu religious consciousness, we say, no, we will no longer have a masjid in Babri. That is yours. We don't even ask you to give us an alternative plot of land. No. We'll find another place to build a masjid. But out of respect for the Hindu religious consciousness, we will vacate Babri. This is what I advised. But the hotheads insulted me and abused me. And now look today. The Indian Supreme Court has given Babri to the Hindus, and these hotheads are now silent. They can do nothing they can do, the hotheads. They have capacity to think, but they don't think. And so, if you mention to the Hindu, yes, we made a mistake on Babri. We should have said Babri belongs to you. Yes, we denounced the Muslim rule over India for all these years. It had nothing to do with Islam, it was imperialism. Then it is possible for you to reach out to Hindus, and those Hindus can protect you. Yes, your protection can come from the Hindus. This is Sunnah. Allah wants you to follow the Sunnah. And when Nabi Muhammad ﷺ had no friends, nowhere, no one to protect him, what did he do? He went to Taif to seek help from Taif, because Halima Sa'adiyah was from Banu Bakr in Taif, that tribe, the woman who had suckled him, his foster mother. But Taif rejected him and put their boys to stone him. And there's blood flowing from his body as he returned to Mecca, all alone. And when he returned to Mecca, he could not enter his own city because his own tribe would not support him and protect him, because Abu Talib was now dead. And one forlorn single man standing outside of Mecca cannot enter his own city. But he would not give up his mission. Not even with the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left would I give up my mission. But my mission allows me to turn to someone who is worshipping the idols, yes, and ask him for help. And he sent a message to someone, I can't remember his name. And that man had the goodness in his heart to come with his sons and to make a public declaration Muhammad salatu wasalam is under my protection. And that was how he was able to enter Makkah and be protected and have security. This is the sunnah of the Prophet. So if he could turn to someone who is worshipping the idols in Makkah and seek protection from him, you can turn to the Hindus in India and ask them for help and protection. Remember that in our dialogue with the Hindus, we have to simply point out to them what they already have. They have in their Vedas one God, one God. So you have to say to the Hindu, all that we are asking from you is to recognize that there is one supreme God. The same thing we say to the Christian, one supreme God. Yes, you're still worshipping Jesus, and that is shirk. I don't need any Salafi to remind me of that. And yes, the Hindus are still worshipping other gods beside the one God. I don't need any Salafi to remind me of that. But if you recognize that there is one supreme God, like the Orthodox Christian, the Father is the supreme God, then that is a major step in the right direction. That is the big shirk that you should have other gods beside God as supreme. And this is the smaller shirk. They're not the same. They're not the same. And there are many Hindus who already recognize that in the Vedas there is one God. There is the Brahmo Samaj movement of Ram Mohan Roy. And from that movement came Rabindranath Tagore, and from Rabindranath Tagore came Rabindranath Tagore, the Brahmo Samaj. And then there's the Arya Samaj movement in Hinduism. This is called Reform Hinduism. And they both have recognized of only one God, one God. So we say to the Hindu world, all that we ask of you is to recognize that there's one supreme God. That's all, one supreme God. And if you're worshipping other gods beside that one supreme God, you're just like the Christian. You're just like the Christian who worships Jesus. And it is possible that Allah can show favor to a Christian even though he's committing the lesser shirk, because he's not committing the greater shirk. In this way, you can build fraternal relations with Hindus. But once a Hindu is prepared to reach out to help you and to protect you, thank Allah for that, because that is what happened to Nabi Muhammad ﷺ in Mecca, when he had no friend and no one to support him. If you are in India, there is also this that you can do, that you must recite the Quran every day. Remember when you're performing your salat, remember you must perform wudu the correct way. That is, you must have a certain amount of water for wudu, don't exceed that amount. And then perform your salat with khushu. And then after you finish your salat, remember, this is a critical moment. As soon as the salat is over, or the namaz is over, you must immediately make istighfar. And it has to be done from your heart. No one can do that for you. Make istighfar for as long as you want. Then when you finish your istighfar, you must make zikr. And the best zikr of all is to recite Ayatul Kursi. I don't want the Imam reciting it for me. Have you heard that? Have you heard that? I want to recite it myself. Have you heard that? And I want to recite it in silence. So could you kindly keep the masjid quiet for me? Otherwise you will have to answer on Judgment Day. After I have recited Ayatul Kursi, I advise you to make the tasbihat. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. This is also sunnah. And there should be no noise in the masjid. Tell the imam, stop his dua. Stop it, so that we can make, this is important for us. And when you are finished with the istighfar, then ask Allah. Ask Allah. You can first recite Surah Al-Fatiha and then ask Allah. Ask Him for protection. If you are in India and you're facing terror, people have been going up to the top of buildings because they're being attacked, and then they fall down from the top of the building and they die. This is what is happening in India now. So if you are in a state of terror, listen to what I'm saying. In addition to going out to Hindus and seeking help from them to protect you and to protect your masajid. Number two, make sure you make wudu the correct way. Perform salat the correct way. And then, immediately after the salat is over, this is critically important before you make your dua. First of all, make istighfar, seek forgiveness from Allah. Number two, recite Ayatul Kursi, do it softly with your heart. I don't want the imam doing it for me. Number three, make tasbihat. Recite Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar 33 times each. And then raise your hands and make your individual dua. Perhaps you can recite Surah Al-Fatiha and then make the dua. And Allah can answer your dua. Yes, He can answer your dua. He can protect you. He protected Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in the cave when Abu Bakr Siddiq was with him. Do you remember? So you can also be protected. Then make your dua and ask Allah for protection. I would speak more on the subject of India and of the Indian Muslims, inshallah, in my lecture in London after Eid. But there is a danger now for Indian Muslims that I must now turn to. And that is that Dajjal is now going to go to work, and he's going to work overtime to try to get some of the young Muslim men to become members of ISIS and to launch a bogus jihad in India against the Hindus. You must separate yourself from these people, because ISIS is a bogus organization founded by the United States and Israel. They're the ones, but the ISIS people don't know it. They don't know it. You have to you have to try to get these young men to stay away from ISIS, stay away from that bogus jihad. The real jihad is coming. When the Great War takes place, then the next event is the conquest of Constantinople. And in that conquest of Constantinople, the real Muslim army will emerge to liberate the city of Constantinople. That's the jihad that's coming. But do not allow these young men to become members of ISIS in India, Islamic, what's it called, Islamic State or Daesh, and then waging jihad against the Hindus of India. Separate yourself from them, turn them out of their homes, turn them out of the towns and villages, turn them out, let them go and live by themselves in isolation by themselves. I have spoken to you also about unity amongst the Muslims in India. You cannot face this critical moment in your history when Modi is hell-bent on waging war on Islam and Muslims. That's the Modi government, waging undisguised war on Islam and Muslims. You cannot protect yourselves if you are divided. You have to be a united body of Muslims. So stop the Shia bashing. Stop this nonsense. Try to build Shia-Sunni friendship and solidarity. Yes. And those who are waging endless jihad on the Shia, separate yourself from them. Get rid of this rubbish. We don't want to see you. Stay away from us. Indian Muslims have to bring unity in their ranks, and you cannot have unity in your ranks with sectarian warfare. The ulama, the Maulanas, the Mulvis, the Shuyukh in India who are engaged in Deobandi, Barelvi, Sufi, Salafi, Shia, Sunni, sectarian warfare, try to get them to stop it. And if they do not stop it, separate yourself from them. Say to them, as my teacher used to say, I am not Barelvi. That was Maulana Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah. I am not Barelvi. I am not Deobandi. I am not Shia. I am not this. I am not that. Excuse me. And try to build unity in your ranks. I don't have time to keep on going on the Indian Muslim, but I'm getting so many emails from India. So many emails from India. Muslims seeking guidance, what should we do? And finally, before I turn away from the subject of India, put your trust in Allah. Put your trust in Allah. Allah will not give up on His people, okay?